Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. It is currently 7:48 p.m. Central Time, Monday, September 30th. Tomorrow is spooky season, which is always nice. And it's also October 1st, which means playoff baseball is here, which is why I have on my buddy Steven. Steven, how are you?
Terrific. Shane, just terrific. How goes
You don't sound terrific.
Kids are acting a fool, not going to bed, the
Hey,
joys of parenthood. But yeah, going good. How goes it?
I mean, not as busy as you.
Just plugging along, yeah.
I'm single, no kids, so life's going pretty good. Well, I suppose. I could go for a better start to this football season, but it is what it is.
I feel you there.
No, I don't want to hear it from you.
Whatever.
I can barely hear you, by the way. Do you have the mic on the?
Yeah, something. I'm sure my headphones are screwing up. See if I can.
That's a little better.
How's that?
It was better before that.
Okay, hang on. We'll get it switched here in a sec.
Okay, it's decent now.
Decent now?
Is it because you're closer to the mic?
Could be.
All right, we'll figure it out. Yeah, just wish it was a better start to this football season, but we are here for baseball, and I do want to give a quick shout out. We got the news before we hopped on about Pete Rose's death. Always sad to see a legend pass, and of course, the Cincinnati Reds legend. My dad loved Pete Rose. He was just telling me when I sent that text that he died that he has several valuable Pete Rose baseball cards. So worth a pretty penny.
Well, that's good. Yeah, it's
along with a Johnny Bench rookie card.
There's the kicker. Yeah, I mean, I think you and I have had this discussion before about the folks of Pete Rose and all the steroid guys' ilk, and my disdain for them as kind of a dark chapter in baseball history. But you can't discount what Pete Rose did on the field. 300 some odd hits, the hit king of Major League Baseball.
It always bothered me when in like 2016 or 17, Ichiro got to 3,000 career hits in Major League Baseball, but his total from Major League Baseball to whatever that league is in Japan, the MPB or something, that it passed Pete Rose. And I was like, first of all, shut your damn mouth. Pete Rose is the all-time hit leader.
I mean, it's different. Obviously, Ichiro was great in his own right, but it's such a different animal, especially back then. The Japanese league and the Korean league have come a long way in terms of talent. But when Ichiro first started, it wasn't anywhere close to the major leagues. So yeah, he was great, but still didn't surpass Pete in the bigs. So Pete Rose will always be the hit king. The Hall of Fame argument can wait.
It's a travesty that he is not already in.
We'll give our respects and T's and P's to the family, but
yep.
I think we've barked up that tree enough.
What'd you say?
I said we barked up that particular tree enough.
We have.
With him and the steroid guys and all that.
So as for the baseball bracket or postseason bracket, we have 12 teams and quite a few surprises, I would say. We definitely didn't think the Royals would come through or would break through, or the Tigers. Although I will say I was like a year off on the Tigers. Last year they were kind of I think this team can contend for a wild card spot, and I was way off. And then this year they don't just contend, they make the postseason. The Mets were a big surprise, and I am repping the Mets tonight.
Of course,
And
since you have that ability to just change everyone,
oh, shut the fuck up. It's not like I'm cheering for the Yankees.
Some of us have to suffer with bad teams.
Look, I am to baseball what you are to the NFL. You just kind of float to team. You don't really have one. You kind of adopted the Panthers when they had Cam Newton, and now you don't really have one. That's kind of been me throughout my life. I am as casual of a baseball fan as it gets. I'm like Rob Lowe. Just give me the MLB hat.
The shield hat, yeah.
And that's really it. Those three teams I would say were the biggest surprise: Kansas City, Detroit, and the New York Mets. Why do you think that is?
Well, we've talked about it before. This league is so top heavy, with really good teams, and if you look back at the offseason, those teams just got better, with the Dodgers and the Yankees and so you just saw. You saw those teams get better, and there was also the surprise of last year when you had the Texas Rangers and the Arizona Diamondbacks in the World Series, and neither of those teams made the playoffs. So there was room for some new blood. There's obviously the old blood still there. So I think in Kansas City and Detroit's case especially, a weak division really helped them.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
And that's not to say that Cleveland is not a good ball club. It's just
they each had 13 games against the White Sox.
The bottom of that league.
And the White Sox, I believe, broke the record for worst single season win.
They did. They got to 121. I don't know if they got to 122. I know they lost 121. So yeah, they are the worst team in baseball history.
Yeah. So it helps when you're playing them 13 times. And then who's the other team? Minnesota wasn't great. That was the team we both thought would win the division. But when you play the White Sox 13 times, that certainly helps your win total. Do you think any of these teams can make a run? I don't. Maybe Detroit, just because they are smoking hot right now.
Yeah, I would say I don't know that I could count out Detroit because they are coming in as the hottest team in baseball, going on the scorching run that they did in August and September. But again, like New York is so good and Baltimore is so good, and
Astros have been there too many times.
The Astros have been there so many times, and they're on their way out. But still, every time we talk about it, we say you can't discount the Astros because of their postseason pedigree. So yeah, I mean it's good for baseball to get the Tigers and the Royals back in. The Royals haven't been in since they won the World Series in 2015. So I mean it's a good thing to get them back in, to get that market back in. They've got a bona fide superstar. And Bobby Witt Jr., who they paid tremendously well for his efforts. So I mean, it's good, but I would say maybe keep an eye on Detroit. I don't know do you know who they have in their wild card series?
It's Houston. I just think that's a tough draw.
Houston. That is tough. It's a really young team. Detroit's really young. Houston is obviously, like I said.
Let's go ahead and talk about the matchups. Ironically, let's start with the 4-5 in the AL. 4 seed being Baltimore, 5 seed being Kansas City. Ironically, these are two teams where in the preseason, Baltimore had already broken through last year, came up short in the playoffs, but I had them circled as the team I was going to pick to win the AL East. They came up a couple games short. Mm-hmm. But Kansas City was the team we both kind of said, man, like, it's there. They could pop like Baltimore. We just have to see it.
Got to put it together.
Sure enough, they do win 86 games and get a wild card spot. I don't know about you. I don't think Baltimore finished the regular season that well, but I like them in this spot. The Royals have been a nice story, but I don't think they're ready for this.
I think you trust Baltimore a little bit more.
And Baltimore's throwing Corbin Burns, I think, in game one.
They'll have Corbin Burns going game one. So you got to expect they'll be in a good position to win that one. Else, that's what I was about to say. Kind of trust their starting rotation and their bullpen just a little bit more probably than Kansas City.
I will say Kansas City's pitching a lot better than what I expected this year.
Probably super quiet, as they usually are. They're not. They don't have really any flashy pitchers that I can think of. They don't have the Tariq Skubal that popped for Detroit. Obviously Corbin Burns for Baltimore or any of the. Although we always talk about how we don't trust the Yankees rotation, but
we're gonna get to the Yankees here in a minute. But I will say I might have to change my opinion this year.
Yeah, it could be. But yeah, I mean, I think you just trust Baltimore a little bit more. Obviously, it's in Baltimore as well, so they get the home field. But yeah, I mean, good story for KC. Wouldn't surprise me if they pull one out. They've got some veteran leadership on that team with Salvi and Bobby Witt's been around for a while. He just hasn't played in the postseason. So wouldn't surprise me, but on paper, yeah, it looks to be a Baltimore series to lose.
Yeah. So we're both going with the Orioles. I am intrigued with this next matchup in the AL. Astros and Tigers. Astros being the 3 seed, getting home field. Like we said, Tigers are scorching hot right now. I don't think I wrote it down. Yes, I have. They've won 48 of their last 76 games, including 31 of their last 44.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think I saw on Twitter that they had like a 1% chance, maybe less than 1% chance to make the playoffs.
Oh, they were
at one point, like in August, and then now they're in
trade deadline. Yeah, I mean they were sellers at the trade deadline. So what they pulled off is remarkable. I saw that like 30 of their last 45 or whatever stat, and I think I told you like I kind of checked out of baseball this year with the boys and the Cardinals not being very good. So I had no inkling that the Tigers were going on this run, and I just looked up and there they were celebrating a playoff bid. So that's one of my favorite things about baseball is you can't discount the hot team that gets in and believes in themselves and goes on a run. The Cardinals have won a couple of World Series like that in our lifetimes. So you can't discount that. It's going to be a tough hill. Excuse me. Because like we said, they do draw Houston. Houston gets the home field advantage. And they are just loaded with postseason experience. And I don't know, I guess, who they will throw game one. But
I didn't look. I think it's Valdez.
Valdez would make sense.
Is that his name, Valdez?
Yeah, Framber Valdez. That would make sense. But again, Houston knows.
Yeah, they're throwing Valdez.
Yeah. Houston knows how to do it, and I don't know that anybody on Detroit knows.
Well, as we said, Detroit's red hot, but they're also throwing Skubal game one. So, like, if they can pull off game one, I mean, you just need one more. You never know.
Yeah, and he's probably, I'm sure we'll talk about awards, but he's probably your AL Cy Young winner. So, I mean, ride him game one, like you said, only need one of the next two. So, it'll be interesting. I don't know that it's the smart decision to maybe pick Detroit, but if you're looking for a underdog and a team that has a legit chance to be the Diamondbacks of last year, they get hot and go on a run.
I personally think
this is definitely your team.
Upsets are going to come in those 3-6 matchups this year. The other one being Milwaukee and the Mets. Yeah. But I will also go with Houston. Too much postseason experience. Tigers got Skubal, but the Astros have a really good rotation too. Yeah.
You always know the Astros are going to have a really good bullpen.
Yeah.
they always seem to come up with the big hit, Bregman or Altuve or Alvarez or all these guys that have had all this postseason success. They always seem to come up with the big hit no matter what. So.
Mm-hmm. And then over to the NL, we got number 4 San Diego against number 5 Atlanta. I don't like picking against Atlanta, but San Diego's beside Detroit is the second hottest, I think, team in baseball.
San Diego's coming in hot, and the way that Atlanta had to get in today with the doubleheader against the Mets.
Yep.
Their rotation and their bullpen are shot. I mean, I know that Sale was scratched today in the second game, but I was checking in on it at work on the first game today, and they were saying if Sale had to go, they were not going to have a starting pitcher on full rest to go game 1.
Yeah, because Spencer Strider's hurt, right?
Strider's hurt.
Yeah.
Sale hasn't pitched in a minute, a couple of weeks, but was seemingly ready to go for game 2 and then got that late scratch. And obviously they had their regular rotation this weekend. So it was going to be a challenge. I'm sure now that Sale scratched, they'll throw him game 1. If he's healthy enough to, but that's something to worry about if you're Atlanta, especially knowing that, like you said, San Diego is coming in probably the hottest team in the NL. And obviously has boatloads of talent and expensive talent.
A team that we wrote off, and here they are
so many
back.
times. Yeah.
I will go with the Padres. Just hard to bet against a team that's hot, and they are hot. They've won 43 of their last 63 games, so that's the entire second half of the season right there. They've won 40. They're 43-20. They have talent. They have pitching. Is it enough to win it all? I don't know, but is it enough to win this series? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure. And then, like we said, Braves. They've been a huge disappointment. They didn't end the regular season on a positive note. Their offensive numbers are pretty pedestrian. Like, they're about middle of the pack in the league in runs scored, and batting average just hasn't been there offensively. Probably going to be a hard series to win.
Gotten bitten by the injury bug again.
Yep.
Seems to happen with Atlanta a good bit. Obviously with Acuna going down, pretty sure Matt Olson missed a good bit of time.
Good point.
Riley missed some time. So we'll see. But I think you're right. I think that the smart pick here is San Diego.
This one I have not made a pick yet. I was working on them before getting on this Skype call with you. Number 3, Milwaukee versus the 6-seeded Mets. Talk me out of the upset here. I said that to you today about the NL Central has not fared well in the postseason since 2018.
And that's because most of the teams have taken large step backs from their most previous
By the way, Milwaukee is another team that we completely wrote off in the preseason, and
we did.
Boy, did they prove us wrong.
Yeah, or maybe they survived the longest in a bad division.
That too. I think there's something to that as well.
Yeah, there's something to that too. But the thing about the Brewers is, it's. I'm trying to think of the best kind of analogy, and I keep coming back to they're kind of like a 6 or a 7 seed, like ACC or Big 10 or Big 12 team in the NCAA basketball tournament that took some lumps in the season, lost 8 or 10 games to some good competition or whatever. But you just know that they're not going to have your star players, your one and dones, your top, your lottery picks or whatever. They just have guys that get the job done. And maybe a more apt thing is like the scrawny mid-major that won 35 games or something in the regular season, and it's just guys that know how to do their job, and move the line along or whatever. That's what's so annoying about the Brewers to me for the last 5 years is that they don't have they have Christian Yelich, and he's in the twilight of his career since seemingly has of course this year has a pretty good bounce back year, but they just don't. They have never had except for those pitchers a couple years ago that are now cycled through, never had like star talent, top of the line talent, but they just move the line along.
Mm-hmm.
They get the job done. They have good pitching in the bullpen, good pitching and timely hitting, and that's the key to success in baseball. And they just had it. So they do stumble into the playoffs a little bit, and the Mets do get the kind of they had to scratch and claw to get in, which gives.
I honestly wonder if they didn't mail in that game 2 of the doubleheader today, because they had the crazy game in game 1 that went back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
And then game 2 they clinched. I wonder if they just said, all right, if we win, we would play the Padres. That sounds dumb. If we lose, we play the Brewers. That sounds dumb, but I do think teams do that. Do you think that?
Oh yeah, I think you look at, especially once you punch your ticket, you look at how do you match up with either team and what's.
Because I think the score game 2 was like 3-0. I'm not even sure the Mets tried.
So it's probably not something that anybody would admit on that team or in that front office, but the thought probably creeped into some minds between those two games. Yeah, I mean, this is probably the toughest of the 4 wild card series, just because we don't know enough seemingly about the Brewers, except for like I said, that they survived a bad division.
Both teams aren't necessarily trustworthy.
No, definitely
and
not.
Someone's got to win. And
Somebody's
it's hard to pick against the Brewers because, like you said, they do everything right. They had a good regular season. I don't know. I'm just feeling the Mets. I can't really explain it. As I say that, as I'm wearing a Mets shirt.
I'm about to say, you got a Mets shirt on, so that makes sense. But, it would be tough. My problem is I see home field advantage in these 3-game series as such a big deal. So it's tougher for me to pick against the Brewers in that sense. But this one, I almost kind of feel like it's just a coin flip, and whoever wins this series is going to lose in the division series anyway.
Right.
So,
who are you going with?
I'll go with the Brewers just because.
Okay. I'll go Mets.
Yeah, just because of home field and the the kind of no-name offense. I'll take Milwaukee.
So next round
a little bit
would be, I think we both had the same kind of picks, but the Yankees, number 1 seeded Yankees against what would likely be the 4-seeded Orioles in round 2, or it would be the winner of the Orioles Royals series. And I said I was going to touch up on the Yankees and how we don't trust them. But I'll be honest, dude, this feels a lot like their year.
They kind of proved it a little bit this year.
Not so much that they're going to win the World Series, but it feels very similar to the 49ers last year in the NFC, where if you don't break through this year, I'm not sure it's ever going to happen, because I look at the rest of this AL. It's a young, inexperienced Orioles team that's only going to get better. It's a young, inexperienced Royals team that's only going to get better. It's a young, I guess, inexperienced Tigers team that's well managed. And then it's the Guardians, rookie manager.
Who are always there. Yeah.
And the other team, who am I missing? The Astros, who are very good, but have a rookie manager and are phasing out. Like, this is it if you're the Yankees. And if you can't get through the AL this year, I'm not sure it's ever going to happen, no matter how much money you spend.
No, I think I'm right there with you. This is nut up or shut up time for them. You have to ride Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and the gang. I mean, this is what they're paid for. So, be interesting to see. I guess I had them playing Baltimore.
Yep, we both do.
So, I'll let you go first. But I mean, it's tough to pick against the Yankees.
I'm gonna ride with the Yankees. I'm going to ride with the Yankees. I don't know if the Orioles are there yet. And I just look at the Yankees lineup. They have a lot of dudes who had really good seasons in their batting lineup or batting order. And then pitching. I mean, they have a lot of really good pitchers in their starting rotation. They have a good bullpen. Dare I say it feels like their year almost. Like I shouldn't say that. The stars seem to be aligning for this team.
Everything is lining up for them to succeed. Now they just have to go and do it.
Yeah.
Which way easier said than done. Obviously, we've seen that happen to teams before. But yeah, I mean it's like I said, it's not up or shut up time. I'll probably go with them too, just because I haven't seen anything from Baltimore to show me that they can perform on this level now.
Did they not finish poorly to end the season?
I think they kind of coasted once they clinched, maybe.
Yeah, but, I'm looking here. They were up 19 games, finished up 20. So, okay. They probably performed better than I thought at the end of the season. But
yeah.
Do they have – I mean, it's only a best of 5, but do they have the pitching outside of Burns to pull off an upset here? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think so. What I think they do have is the lineup to compete.
Yeah, they do.
I think they do, especially up top. So, this will probably be the year of if the Orioles show you something and beat the Yankees in the division series. That's the changing of the tides. This becomes the Orioles, probably becomes the Orioles division for sure, and maybe the Orioles league for a couple of years going in the future because of how young and talented they are and how their contracts are well put together. So it is just like you said, it is just a 5-game series, but could kind of be a harbinger of things to come. And then, like you said, it kind of feels like the Yankees' time, but if they don't do it now and they get beat by the Orioles, I mean, it could be a long couple of years.
So we're both going Yankees. Next matchup. I'm not convinced either way. I think we both have Guardians and Astros.
Yeah, I mean, this is a coin flip for me.
I don't know why. I just don't buy the Guardians. I don't really have anything scientific. I don't have anything scientific. It's just one of those things. I think you overperformed in the regular season. Postseason's a different animal. I'm going Astros just solely based on I know what I'm getting with them come postseason time. You know the last time the Astros were one and done in the postseason? I looked it up today. Early 2000s.
Yeah, let's say, I mean, they played.
Or at least that's as far back as I went.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to 2005 when they went to the World Series and lost to the White Sox. And I was like, I'm not going back any further because I know that they lost to the Cardinals, I think, in 2004 in the NLCS.
Cardinals in 2004 in the NLCS, yep.
So I was like, that's too far. It's been 20 years.
Yeah.
But since this core has been together in 2015, for the most part, it's been a win in the wild card game against the Yankees in 2015. It's been World Series champs in 2017, ALCS, a bunch of ALCS and World Series appearances ever since then.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, the pedigree speaks for itself, and you kind of know what you're getting with Cleveland. It'll be good pitching. It'll be pitching and defense and some timely hitting. But do they have enough to overcome the lack of postseason experience in regards to how much the Astros have? So I think you're right. I'd probably go Astros here as well, which would set up kind of in the ALCS. I know we'll get to it in a minute, but set up the bugaboo for the Yankees in the past has been.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Has been the Astros, so that would be interesting.
NLDS. I haven't filled out the NL side because it wasn't official until a couple of hours, 2 hours ago. So this is going to be on the fly. I really don't know right now, but number 1 seeded Dodgers against the 4 seeded Padres. I think we both have. I want to go Padres.
you want to go Padres, and there's some precedent for it too because they did it a couple years
exactly.
ago. But the Dodgers are so good.
I didn't realize how good of a regular season that they had. They won 98 games. I mean,
which is
better than what I thought they had.
Essentially, which is reasonably a disappointing regular season for how much talent they have. But
correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't it a slow start?
Slow start
and they've had some injuries to their starting rotation.
Starting rotation has been banged up a little bit. The lineup has had a few kind of minor injuries that nothing. I don't think any super long term. Obviously the big guys, Otani and Betts and Freeman and the Yoke, were there most of the year, but
might be the most competitive divisional series matchup in my opinion.
I could see this one going 5. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, you kind of have to go Dodgers.
Yeah.
Shohei Ohtani's first postseason, by the way.
I don't love the injuries to the Dodgers rotation. I think that's really going to hurt them. Like, isn't Walker Buehler out?
Walker Buehler's out. Kershaw is a shell of his former self.
I'm skeptical about that. But
Yamamoto's throwing the ball well.
Let's look at their pitching real quick.
Jack Flaherty, I think, is still spending it for him. He came over at the deadline.
So right now,
is on that team.
They don't even have a dude who's eligible. I go to ESPN, and they have in bold the guys who are eligible for like major awards, and they don't even have anyone in their starting rotation eligible for Cy Young in terms of innings pitched. But Gavin Stone at 3.53, Glass now at 3.49. Did he get hurt? Maybe he's the one who got hurt.
Maybe it was Glass now. I know Buehler hadn't pitched all year.
Now I'm going to make sure.
Did he not have Tommy John?
Tyler Glass now frustrated to miss postseason.
Okay, yeah. So Glass now's out.
And I believe we said Walker Buehler's out. But let's double check.
Fairly certain, but
says Walker Buehler's NL West clinching start for Dodgers invalidated by post-game comments.
Ooh.
September 27th.
Maybe he is back.
Maybe he did come back. So that'll help, but
they're not as loaded.
The Dodgers haven't really been trustworthy since 2020.
No, that's true.
I'll go Dodgers, but I'm not crazy.
I'm with you. I'm skeptical about it. This is another one of those kind of prove it to me kind of teams. Obviously, we know they have all the talent in the world. I mean, Shohei Ohtani is the best baseball player on planet Earth,
and he's scorching hot right now.
I'll
go Dodgers.
He's not going to cover off the ball, but it would not surprise me in the least bit. If
I want it to be known. I do want to go Padres.
If the Padres do make it through, it wouldn't surprise me at all if the Padres did it again. But we'll go Dodgers.
There. All right. So last matchup of the divisional round or divisional series. 2-seeded Phillies against you have 3-seeded Brewers. I have 6-seeded Mets. I don't think either one of those teams are going to win. Give me the Phillies.
Yeah, I think it's Phillies pretty easily. Another team that
injury bug bit them.
But they're healthier now than they have been in a minute. And obviously we know they've got the pitching. We know they've got the lineup. Just matters if they're all clicking at the same time.
Right.
Kind of like hockey lines, like it's got to all be going at the same time. And they'll go as far as they can, as that'll take them, I guess.
All right, so we both got Phillies. ALCS, the matchup we were talking about earlier, we both have Yankees Astros. If the Yankees are gonna do it,
if they're gonna do it, this is
They have to get through,
likely
get through Houston, who has been a thorn in their side for, 7 years now, 2017.
Almost 10 years, yeah.
And Astros have prevailed, I think, every matchup.
The Astros to the Yankees. The Astros are to the Yankees what the Yankees are to the Twins.
Yeah. But I will say, I think this Yankees team is different. I'm going Yankees. I just don't think this Astros team is good enough. Like, this feels like one of their worst teams they've had. And it's still pretty good, but
yeah, I mean, they're good. They benefited from a really, really down AL West with some truly horrible teams in that division.
The Rangers were a huge disappointment.
The Rangers were a massive disappointment. The A's and the Angels were like historically bad.
And the Mariners, I said that in the preseason, I'm not sure there's been a more consistent team than the Mariners. Well, not necessarily, but like in the last 3 to 4 years, they've won like 89 or 90 games. This year they're at 85, but like they're right there. Like they've been pretty consistent. They just haven't been able to make the playoffs every year. But
yeah. So I mean, it's tough to. I don't know. It's like we keep saying, it's tough to discount the Astros and what they've shown they can do in the postseason. So I don't know if you made your pick. I don't know if you said the Yankees or not, but I would lean Astros. History tells me that the Astros are the kryptonite to the Yankee Superman. So I would go Houston here.
Interesting. I did say Yankees, by the way.
Okay.
I just think I went back and forth on it because I was throughout work when I had some time to kill. I was doing some research for my blog and I was just going through and I did type up the AL because we knew what the AL side was.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think the Yankees are a little deeper starting rotation, a little deeper bullpen.
Yeah.
The lineup's in better shape than the Astros. They just feel a little bit better right now. But like I hear you, man. I hear you.
The stars are aligning for New York, but it's about taking it and not just letting it come to you.
Yeah.
And you know, history is a big thing in baseball.
Well, speaking of history in baseball, do you know how many this pertains to the Astros with a rookie manager? Do you know how many rookie managers have won the World Series in baseball history?
True rookie managers.
True rookie, not first-year managers, rookie managers.
Oh.
Was that a no? None?
Is it none?
No, 5.
Is it close to none?
It's 5. But in baseball history, baseball's been going on since the 1800s. Only 5.
We don't count
twice in the last 25 years.
Yeah, I mean,
Alex Cora in 2018, and the manager, I forgot his name, manager of the Diamondbacks in 2001. I don't remember his name.
Is that Bob Brenly?
That sounds right. Ben or Brent Brenly, yeah, something like that.
Was it Brenly? Yeah.
But those two, the one before that was 1961.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, it's just one of those things. It doesn't happen often.
Yeah, I mean, it's while yes, I think a manager is important in an organization that's had as much success as Houston has recently. I think you can kind of cover up some of that inexperience in the manager's chair with experience on the playing field, in the dugout, in the front office. I mean, it's, you know, it'd be tough. But Aaron Boone hasn't shown us anything in the postseason, at least.
No, he is not. You're right. And I was going to ask you this. If they don't get through the AL, do you think he's gone? I mean, I would say he has to be.
I mean, If it were me, I would say no, because I don't know that you can fire a guy or mutual, whatever they
Phrase it.
come up with. I don't think you can after having the best record in the league. I think that'd be a tough look, but it's a conversation that has to be had. Because
Well, you're just going nowhere. You're
he
going
keeps
nowhere.
having these teams like he's going nowhere. He keeps having these teams that are crazy talented and have a lot of regular season success, and then inevitably fall short in the division series or the championship series. So I think it's a conversation that has to be had. I don't think you do it, but that's why I'm not employed by the Yankees and paid millions of dollars to make personnel decisions. So,
how many times did the Yankees fire Billy Martin?
Just to come back.
Granted, that was George.
Yeah, I mean, that was the old regime.
How many times did the Yankees fire Billy Martin? 5 times.
5 times.
5 times. That's incredible.
And he kept coming back.
God
bless him.
All right, so NLDS, we both have Dodgers, Phillies. Tell you what, give me the upset, Phillies. It's Red October.
Philly.
I have gassed up the Dodgers so many times over the years, and they just always find a way to trip on their own dick. In the last 3 years, at least. I know they won it all in 2020, but come on.
Mickey Mouse Championship. Would Houston and Philly be a World Series rematch from a couple years ago? Didn't that?
Yes. Yes. They were in 2022.
For their last championship. Yeah. Oh boy. I think you have a really good point with the Dodgers starting rotation.
Yep. I worry about that.
I worry about that, especially in the postseason, especially against a team with a good starting rotation like Philadelphia.
I worry about their bullpen, but
I worry about Philly's bullpen. But you know that the lineups match up and can.
And the Phillies have shown something the last couple of years. They went to the World Series in 2022. They got to a game away from the World Series last year until they played a red-hot Diamondback squad.
Right.
The Phillies have shown it. They've shown me something. Dodgers really haven't shown me anything other than, like you said, the Mickey Mouse Championship in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, the Phillies have been super consistent too. I mean, like you said, so that would be a tough series to kind of prognosticate, just because there are such deficiencies with both teams in big areas, but the kind of the strengths of the teams outweigh it a little bit, or you could see how they could outweigh it. So that would be a series that I would see going 6 or 7, being super competitive. Not necessarily in a game-to-game sense, like every game is going to be one-run game or two-run game, but you may have a couple of stinkers in there, but each team may have a stinker. So you see it going 6 or 7, and
I remember when
really
the Bruins
compelling.
played the Canucks in the 2011 Stanley Cup. It went 7 games, but the goal differential was absurd in Boston's favor. Because Boston won 4 games, obviously won the cup, and every game they won was like 6-2.
Yeah.
And then the games that the Canucks won were like 1-0.
1-0, 2-1. Yeah.
So who you going with?
Kind of similar to the Bruins and the Blues in the.
Don't you fucking say it?
But that's true, because the Blues won that last game like 4-1, but the other ones they won 2-1, 3-2, and the Bruins won 7-2 on one game.
Game 3 was like 7-2 or something.
One was 5-1 or something. So I mean, yeah, it was crazy. But oh boy, and I would probably go LA. Probably go Dodgers as a show me something. This is kind of the show me year in baseball and in the playoffs. I mean, a couple of different teams that kind of have to show you something. So I'll go LA. I think riding a transcendental star like Shohei Ohtani, I think can get you pretty far in life. So
ALCS, you have Astros, Dodgers.
Yes.
Who are you going with?
Like you said, I think the stars align for the Yankees a little bit. I think there's a little bit less of an aligning for the Dodgers, but I think the magic is there with them bringing over Shohei and kind of riding him into the stars, so to speak. So I would. This is another series, and if this were to happen, it would surprise me if it went less than 6. It would be one of those kind of series, and this would be a true, super compelling, close games throughout. That kind of series. But I
may
would
vomit if it's Yankees Dodgers.
Oh, that would suck.
I might vomit.
That would be maybe the worst thing that's ever happened to the flyover states and and in the world. So let's all pray for the Astros or the Royals or somebody to make the Brewers to make a run.
No, fuck the Royals. I would cheer for the Orioles. I would want to see outside of the
Orioles. Yeah, the Orioles are a smaller market and a fun team, young and talented, with a little bit of veteran savvy. But yeah, in terms of, I would probably pick LA. Like I said, in a classic,
you're not quitting on the Dodgers, whereas I kind of
7 games. I can't quit them because they're just they're 1 through 5 or 1 through they're the best hitters on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, they are so
I hear you.
1 through 5, and their pitchers are not horrible.
No.
Not bad. They just underperformed. So if they get hot, starting pitchers start rolling a little bit, can take some pressure off the bullpen. You could see Dave Roberts is a good manager. You could see a path for LA to get it done. And if not, I mean, I think you're right. I think you kind of have to swear off of them for a little bit until they prove it.
Hang on, we got a kick return happening.
How fun!
A Auburn-esque kick return happening.
Missed field goal.
Missed field goal right before halftime in this Lions game. He didn't go anywhere, but I just wanted to see it.
It's always fun.
So I have Yankees, Phillies. I don't know.
Northeast takeover for Shane here.
Rematch of the 2009, I believe, World Series that the Yankees won.
Yes, it was.
My friend James is a big Phillies fan. He might kill me if I pick against them. But as I have said,
I think James will be pretty happy with the National League Championship.
He's very upset with the Eagles right now, so maybe.
Oh, yeah.
As I've said, this feels like the Yankees' year. It's hard for me to pick against the Yankees, and I do worry about the Phillies bullpen. It's not terrible. Like it's in the top half of the league, but it's like 14.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent you today that 13, I think, of the last 18 World Series champions have had bullpens that rank in the top half in ERA. And then in the last decade, 7 of the last 10 World Series champions have had bullpens with ERAs in the top 10. You know who has that? The Yankees. It's hot. You got to pick a team with a good bullpen, I think, today.
Yeah.
And
especially in this
Phillies
day
don't
and
really
age.
have it, and that concerns me. Dodgers do, but I worry about that starting rotation. The Astros do. I just think that they're getting older, and I think their window might have closed.
Or is closing now.
Or is closing. So, yeah, I mean, give me the Yankees. It feels like the stars are aligning. I think they're legit this year. I can't say that for previous years.
I know how that pains you, Shane.
I don't like the Yankees. And I don't even say that because I'm wearing a Mets shirt. I've never liked the Yankees. So it doesn't pain me too bad. I consider myself to be unbiased, but I also picked the Reds to make the playoffs, and that didn't turn out too good.
Well, we all have our one.
Well, I took a shot.
Yeah.
There's always a team that comes out of nowhere. But yeah, give me the Yankees. I don't love it, but give me the Yankees. And if they lose, who gives a shit?
Who cares?
Who cares? I'm happy. I sent this to my dad. So we're talking. I should have mentioned this beforehand. I don't think I sent this to you. Where's the text? So since 2015, I have picked. So since 2015, I've done MLB postseason predictions on my blog. From 2015 to 2020, I correctly picked the World Series champion 4 times in 6 seasons. The Royals in 2015, the Cubs in 2016, Red Sox in 2018, Dodgers in 2020. I had an overall record of 33-27 in the round by round. So wild card, ALDS, and ALCS. So 55%, not horrible. But since 2021, I have not correctly picked a World Series champion. And my round by round record is 7-24, 22.5%. It's been abysmal.
We have had some
7 correct picks in 3 years.
So.
And a series, 7 correct series picks in 3 years.
Not great.
It is not great.
Not great. I pick the Cardinals to win the World Series every year, so we haven't made the playoffs.
When they're not in, you can't, but
5 years.
You'll still probably find a way. You know what? Give me the Cardinals.
Yeah. They're going to do it.
I think this is the shortest pod we've had.
This was a good one.
We were right on it, man. Anything else we need to discuss?
You want to do awards real quick? They're all pretty straight. They're all pretty straightforward, it feels like.
We can. I don't even know any. Like,
Shohei's probably going to win the NL MVP.
Okay, that makes sense.
Chris Sale feels like he's going to win the NL Cy Young.
Really?
Nice, resilient bounce back season for him.
Yeah, you're right. I thought he was way over the hill.
Well, he was. Came over to Atlanta and just had a really good year.
You're right, though. 2.38 ERA, 225 strikeouts.
I think he won the Triple Crown in the National League for pitching.
What's the Triple Crown?
I know Skubal won it in the American League. Wins, ERA, strikeouts.
Sale leads in wins. He leads in ERA, and he leads in strikeouts. You are correct. So 2 Triple Crown winners.
Sounds like 2 Triple Crown winners because I believe Skubal did it in the AL too.
Let's look real quick.
So you kind of chalk him in for the Cy Young in the AL.
Skubal did lead in ERA. He did lead in wins. And he did lead in strikeouts. How about that?
Good for them. I think AL MVP, you can kind of make an argument for a couple different people, but
feels like it's going to be Judge.
Feels like it's going to be Judge.
I didn't know Vladimir Guerrero Jr. had such a good year.
Vlad Jr. had a good year on a bad team. I mean,
Bobby Witt. How's he not getting?
Witt had a really good year. Joe Ram had a really good year. But I mean, Judge hit 50 something.
I think it was 58 home runs.
Drove in 140 or so.
Holy shit! 144 RBIs.
I think he hit 310 or 305
322.
or something. Oh wow!
On base 458, slugging 700.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I would say give it to him.
Yeah.
Yankees biased aside.
Yeah, Yankees. Yeah. Rookie of the year. Who knows? Probably Jackson Merrill of the Padres. Should be Paul Skeens probably, but
you don't think he's going to win?
I don't think he's going to win simply because the Pirates were so bad. And Merrill contributed on a postseason team. So I think that may kick him over. Would not surprise me in the least bit if Paul Skeens won because he was so dominant. But
so right now, according to Fox Sports, they have Jackson Merrill as the favorite at minus 750. Paul Skeens in second at plus 400.
Wow, that's a really big.
That's a big disparity.
Who's third on that list? Just for.
Who was it? Jackson Chourio?
Chourio. Yeah.
For the Brewers at plus 1100.
Milwaukee. I was gonna see if maybe Mason Wynn snuck in there, but that's okay.
I don't know. I kind of want to see Paul Skeens win.
He had himself a nice year.
Just because of Livy Dunn.
She would look nice at the award ceremony.
She would look nice.
I don't even know.
Okay, here we go. AL. It is a Baltimore Oriole who is the favorite in the AL.
I don't even know who that could be.
Colton Cowser.
Oh, Colton Cowser. That's right.
At minus 250.
Yeah.
And then Austin Wells of the Yankees in second at plus 180. So a good race there.
Yeah.
And then Wilyer Abreu of the Red Sox at plus 2,200 in third.
Yeah, they suck.
So what's the deal with all the people making fun of Red Sox fans on social media? Like hanging the banner of finishing 500 and I'm just trying to figure that out.
You gotta celebrate something.
Well, they overperformed. Like they're trying to dunk on the Red Sox, and I feel like they overperformed.
That's probably what they're making fun of, is that they're all celebrating because they played better than they thought they were gonna.
I mean, Alex Cora is just a really good manager. Clearly, how he got this team to 500, I really don't know.
Pretty young team.
Not super talented.
Decently young.
I know what I want to ask you.
What's that?
So Cincinnati Reds have fired David Bell, long overdue. Who should they look at for manager? Because right now, I get updates from my brother who's plugged in, and he, reads message boards, whatever, reports, whatever you want to call it. And they are saying Skip Schumacher is the number one candidate right now.
Wouldn't be a bad.
He's not thrilled with it. I don't think it's a terrible choice either.
I think he's a good manager. Won the manager of the year last year, getting the Marlins to got him to the postseason or close.
He did, yes.
Yeah, they did. And they
lost to the Phillies, I believe.
Mutually parted ways. I know. Skip Schumacher played for the Reds for a while, didn't he?
For at least 1 year, yes.
Did he not? I know he made his hay as a Cardinal and a Dodger, but I think he played for the Reds for a minute. So knows the organization. I know for sure
for 1 year. I remember seeing him in Pittsburgh, I believe. My dad and I went to go see him. Drove up from Morgantown.
I don't think that'd be a bad hire. I think there's been a recent trend of hiring former players and like recent former players.
One of them for the Astros.
Stephen Vogt, a good
Vaught or Vogt, whatever.
So you think in that vein. I don't know. I don't even know who would. You kind of got to find somebody who wants to do it first. Because there's probably a lot of recently retired guys that don't want to get back in right away.
There's a big push for Barry Larkin.
Barry Larkin, probably a big push. Maybe a push for Joey Votto. but don't think he wants to do it probably.
I don't see either of them as a manager.
I would say
definitely not Votto.
Larkin more so than Votto, especially since he's like very recently retired. But I for where Cincinnati is in the proverbial pecking order, you get better with Skip Schumacher. So I think that's not if that's who they hone in on, not a bad hire. I don't know.
I don't either. I don't follow it. I just know he's the top guy.
Continue the
trend
allegedly
on the list.
Hire the Cardinals bench coach, who is Daniel Descalso.
The Reds have a real. My brother was talking about it today. Little brother problem to the Cardinals. Like they keep wanting to poach Cardinals guys, and it just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And that's why he's not sold on Schumacher.
Yeah.
He's big on go find like a bench coach from the Rays or a well-run team.
Well-run team, yeah. The Rays, the Astros,
I mean, that's what Alex Cora was, bench coach in Houston, I believe, under AJ Finch, whatever his name is.
Finch, yeah.
Baldelli in Minnesota was, I believe, a bench coach, maybe in Tampa. But a lot of those guys end up being good managers.
Skip Schumacher got his start. He was a bench coach.
Oh, was he?
For LA, for the Dodgers.
Okay.
So, and I think he came over.
My dad said something like, I don't want to hire a retread. He got fired from the Marlins. And I said, dude, that's like saying I got fired from the Browns.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really. Yeah.
Come on. What are we talking about?
So, I mean, it's all about finding the right fit. The Reds are plenty young and talented. So find the right fit. They need to get over the hump of like the Cardinals and the Cubs. So
talking about a disappointment, it was the Cubs.
Oh yeah.
Granted, that whole division was a disappointment except the Brewers.
You just hate to see that, Shane. I mean,
that whole division,
real bummer.
From top to bottom, it was someone's got to win it. I don't know who. And I just went with the Cubs because they had made the big splash in the offseason, we thought, in Craig Counsell.
Yeah. So.
You hate the Cubs more than I do, obviously.
Very much so. And for good reason, because they suck. But, yeah, I mean, the Pirates are as bad as they are ascending.
Are they? They're still in last.
Kinda. There are things to be excited about in Pittsburgh.
True. I mean, I'll give you that. But the Reds were snake bitten all year. They still finished higher than the Pirates.
That's true. Yeah. So I mean, it'll be tough. I would say Skip is a good hire, but if Corey thinks not, then he knows more. He certainly knows more about the team.
I said that's your domain. I said the same thing. I said, are we sure that's that bad? I mean, he took the Marlins to the playoffs. Granted, the NL wasn't very good, but he still got them there.
Bye, guys.
Like I said, it's like being the head coach of the Browns, man.
Yeah, you're set up to fail, except for the one time a year that they decide they want to be.
Although I do
one time a decade.
Once every decade they have a decent team.
They decide they want to compete.
There was something else I was going to say. Now I've forgotten. But I'll leave it at that. We're going for a little over an hour. I like the idea. I like the idea of getting out of here quick.
Yeah.
All right, my man. I appreciate you coming on and talking some ball.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
Yep.
Take it easy.
Later.